Story time, y'all. Let's go. We got another good one for you today. Yes, 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 yes. I thank you so much for coming through.
You're welcome.
The name of this song is It's Your Time to Shine. I play that because I like people to know that's what this is. It's your time to shine. Yeah. Say it one more time. It's your time. I like to say welcome. Good evening, everyone. My name is Crystal. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Story Time. Tonight, I am so excited. I have this young man. His name is David Womble, and he's better known on social media as Dubz General. Dubz General. And David is out of the city of New Jersey. All right. And we're going to bring him to the forefront so we can find out a little bit more about this comedian, this rising comedian. He's actually an established comedian. When I first met him, he was on a ride, but he has arrived. So I want to say welcome, David. How you doing, man?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm amazing. I'm amazing. Thank you so much for asking. I know we've been talking about doing this interview for a while, so I'm just excited to be here with you tonight. I always tell people to start out by letting individuals know a little bit about who is David. Now, some people have seen you on social media and they know you as Dubz General. So, who is Dubz General? Like, who was little boy Dubz General? The one that is the big brother, the one who traveled around the world with the parents that were in the Air Force. Who was that little boy?
I mean, for me, I can say that I'm just a funny person that enjoys people, um, and want to help people, whether it be learning social media, whether it be learning how to interact in awkward situations. That's kind of what I like to do. So I'm a father, you know. Just again, I'm just a good, kind-hearted
And so let's talk about before you got here. How was you as a little boy? Was you a little boy who was quiet or was you the class clown? Because you're a comedian now. Was this a dream of yours? And when did all of this come to mind? When did you say, I want to be a comedian? Was this something that you did as a child?
person. I was always funny as a kid, but if I were to say that I always dreamt to be a comedian ever since the beginning of time, that wouldn't be forthcoming. It wouldn't be honest. Um, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I was good at making people laugh and saying things that everyone else is thinking, that most people are afraid to say. I was that person that would just say it, because I feel like even back when I was younger, I felt like people were holding back on their thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
holding back on their feelings because of, I guess, society. It was like, there's a time and a place for everything.
Right.
Don't sometimes you don't gotta say what you think. And I feel like if more people said what they thought, the world would be a better place. We wouldn't have to deal with fake things.
So you were outspoken as a child. So what
Very
was your
much.
dream as a child when you were in middle school and everybody has that one thing that they want to do. They have somebody to watch on TV and they go, oh, I want to be like him. Who is that person?
So when I was growing up, when I was in like early high school or middle high school, so maybe like 10th grade, I wanted to be Hits from the Streets. Hits from the Streets was, do you know who that is?
No.
Okay. Hits from the Streets, it was on BET, and he had a microphone and he would run around the city or run around it was a spring fling, all
Hmm.
these different events, and he would interview them. If not interview, then he was just making jokes, asking them questions and then reacting to those questions that he asked. So in high school, I was like, I'm gonna get into video production because that was what Hits did. He was walking around with a camera and a microphone. And I was like, hey, I could do the same thing during lunchtime and get credits for it. So that's what I did. I went from, lunch to lunch to lunch with the camera and a microphone and did a lot of editing in my, in the editing room. I even created like, I guess it was like a tribute to
Hmm.
the senior
Hmm.
year, where I recorded all throughout the year of different things that happened during lunch or during like pep rallies, and then I did the editing at the end of the year, and we gave back in the day we had CDs, discs. I handed out discs, and I made good money um, from just using that footage throughout the year. It was like a video yearbook.
Wow. So how did the school like what you were doing? The students and the administration, what did they think?
Me, I don't know because I wasn't, the administration, we weren't on good terms all the time. But for my teacher, she was just amazed that I was not just playing around and joking during lunch times. She was like, "Oh, so you actually had projects that you were trying to, accomplish, or you had a goal." And the goal was basically to capture um, all of the events that I thought were funny, or all the shocking events. Like I didn't have anything like fights or anything like that, but it'd be like homecoming. I got video of the homecoming king, queen, homecoming king. At lunchtime in Texas, they did a lot of like rapping where they was beating on the tables. I would record those. Um, Guys running after girls, like just memorable things that happened throughout the year. I recorded those, I edited it, and made some money. Now the school didn't know I made no money off that, but that's neither here nor there. I was a businessman in high school. I was trying to find ways to make extra money.
Excellent. Did you ever take that to your local radio station or television station and try to take it a little further?
I did not. I wanted to go to college, but when you grow up, and your parents tell you at 18 you got to get the hell up out this house, you got to make decisions, and they didn't believe that I was serious about college. So they took me down to the damn recruiter's office,
Mm.
and the rest was history. I mean, I feel like they could have invested a little bit more, but you know, I can't fault them for living their life. They made their decision.
Yeah, because so now they were traveling around the world. So, I mean, I'm sure you got to see some exciting things with being a child with parents, just moving everywhere. Where's the most fascinating place that you've ever visited?
Japan. I lived in Japan for 4 years, and that was one of the best places that I've ever got to experience. I did 2 years. My dad did 2 years in Okinawa, which is a little small island outside of Japan, and then 2 years on the mainland. And I still got a lot of friends, a lot of people that I, interact with now that I knew back when I was 13, 14, 15.
Wow. And so, where's the most beautiful place that you've seen?
Okinawa, hands down. Okinawa is like Hawaii, but without all the tourists.
So, what's the second most beautiful place?
Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Really?
Something about clean air, mountains, and weed. You just can't go wrong with those, with those three things. Oh Lord, them things
Oh
is beautiful.
Lord. The weed. Oh my goodness. That's one of my childhood friends that it is funny you said weed because that's what we did. Richard, isn't that funny? I know that's why you said wow. Because man, the weed and the music, that's funny. Um wow. So as a child, did you resent traveling around the world? A lot of times when people come up and they have parents that are in the military in any branch, a lot of times we call them military brats, and some people enjoy it, other people resent it because they can never really get settled. How did you feel?
Um, I mean, it was just the norm for me. I don't know anything different. Even my last probably 10 years, I've been in 3 different states. So it's normal for me to move. Um, I think what happens is that you want what you can't have.
Mm,
So when you move around a lot, you would hope that you would live in a place and grow up with a lot of friends. And then you got some people that live in the same place their entire life and wish that they were able to move around. So um, for me personally, I'm just used to change. I think that staying in one place too long, you become stagnant and you don't get to experience different things. You can travel and go visit for a week here or a couple of days here, but you don't get the full experience if you don't uproot yourself and move to another area. Like I plan on moving from here soon, and probably in
really?
the next year.
I'm gonna ask you that. Somebody, Richard wrote, "I am from Barbados, an island of the Caribbean. Japan is on the other side of the world." Have you ever been to the Caribbean islands?
No, not something where I'm like I can't wait to go. If I go, I go, but it's not. I won't say it's on none of my bucket lists.
Wow. So now you have children, right? You have a son and a
Mhm.
daughter. Is that correct? How old are they?
My youngest is 8, and my oldest is 12.
Talk to me about fatherhood. How do you enjoy being a father? Because you're a single father, right? You used to be
I
married, but
am. I am.
so how?
It's all right. It's different, right? And the reason why I say it's different is because you expect. Okay, let me rephrase it. My kids are like me. When I was growing up, I was outspoken. I said what I thought when I said it, and my children do that now. And I do not give them a hard time like I was given a hard time when I was growing up because I understand how it feels to be told that there's a time and a place and kids don't, your opinion doesn't matter. This
Mm,
adults make the decisions around here. For me, I want their input. Not saying that I'm going to listen to it, not saying it's going to matter, but I definitely want them to know that they have an opinion and they are able to speak their opinion because when they get older, I want them to be able to talk to me. I want to be able to say, okay, I can go to my dad about this, or I can talk to my dad about this because I felt like growing up, there were some things where I wasn't going to tell my parents. And it was just because I was worried about their reaction. And knowing that I don't want my children to have to go through that same thing.
so let me ask you something. You said as a child you felt like your opinion didn't matter. Like your parents made you feel as though there was a time and place for everything, and now your children are outspoken. So when they give you their opinion, do you have a conversation? Do you acknowledge it? Do
Of
you
course.
make sure that you go in depth so that they learn how to not only advocate for themselves but how to express themselves?
Of course. I think what parents are supposed to do is, know what you feel went wrong in your childhood and try to make adjustments so you don't do the same thing. A lot of times history repeats itself. I do this because this is what it was done to me, and that's not for me not a way that I think that you should move forward and be able to grow. Um, you know, your grow to have your children become better than you.
Right. Right. That's what most people say. They want them to be better. So now you said you're going to move soon. So are you taking in consideration how you felt every time you moved? Because maybe they have friends they don't want to lose. Maybe they don't want to, have to start all over, go to a new school. Have you had the
Yeah,
conversation with them about the move?
yeah. I think I won't say I think because I talked to my oldest. My youngest don't care. He 8. He like, where are we going? And what can we do when we get there? My 12-year-old, she's becoming a young lady. She's finding her group of friends. But we've only been here for a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So she's not all the way knee deep in. Um, does she want to stay here? Absolutely. She got her friends here, but she had her friends when we moved before, and she don't even talk to them. So,
So you are actually repeating the cycle.
but I'm not in the military, and I'm
No,
not
but
saying, and I'm not saying when I leave that I'm not gonna stay there. I'm just saying where I'm at is not where I want to be.
so let's talk about your comedy career. How is that going to affect your career? Aren't you getting some things accomplished where you are? I've seen you doing some shows. I think you have some local venues that are working with you. You're going to up and leave that opportunity?
Absolutely. So okay. I lived in Texas and I have roots in Texas and I know comedy clubs in Texas. I lived in Colorado. I got roots in Colorado and I know comedy clubs in Colorado. I lived here for 2 years and I've done way more than I've done in those other two cities. And I have relationships with all of these clubs.
Hmm.
To build a relationship to now be able to travel to these different places consistently, it took time to build that. So I feel like Florida, I mean, just like Texas, Florida, you can stay in the state of Florida and do all the little small clubs and make a decent living off of it. But I talked to, and I don't want to name drop, so I'm not going to say her name, but um, she is the head of an agency.
Hmm.
And the information that I got from her is that this isn't a place if you want to further your career in comedy. It's not a hub. So I want to go to where it's a hub. I'm not going to New York, too expensive with two kids being single. I'm not going to LA, too expensive. I have a single father and two kids. So I have to go somewhere where it's financially lucrative, but also a hub. So I plan on moving to Austin
Okay. So now let's talk about your comedy career. So you've been doing comedy now 4 years, right?
for you.
What was your first comedy experience like when you did that first show? Do you remember that?
I do. I was in Colorado and one of my buddies was coming from out of town. He was like, "Hey, you should just sign up for this open mic. They do it every Thursday. Go up there. You funny. You always got me laughing. You got people laughing when I would go to lunch and it'd be break time. I'd be talking, everybody stop. They just staring at me, listening to the stories that I would tell. And he was like, "Yo, you should go to the open mic." So I got my little jokes together. I said, "All right, I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna murder it." And they called my name and I went home.
What? What? You went home.
I was so scared. My
You ran.
heart, my heart was pounding, my hands was sweating. I totally forgot everything that I was gonna say. I took my black home.
You ran. What? Did you go
Yep.
out the back door?
I went right out the front door. I wasn't going out the back door. I said, "All right, peace. I'll holler at y'all."
So hold up. Did you wait till they called your name to leave?
I think I did. I think they was like, "Give it up for them."
Wow. So did you at least let somebody know you was leaving on the way out the door? Say, look, tell him I can't do it or something. I mean,
No,
wow.
no.
Dang. So what happened? I mean, you got home. How did you feel? Did you feel bad because you left? And did you call somebody? And did you apologize to the club owner? No.
I went home and went to sleep like a baby. Didn't
So
think
then,
twice about it.
wow. So what happened after that? I mean, when did you get the courage to do the next show that you
The
actually
next week,
showed
the
up?
next week, the next week, I was like, you know what? Why was I nervous? Like, what is the worst that could happen? And I said, have a drink, smoke a little herbal essence, and take your ass up there. And I went up there and I did really well. And then I was like, oh man, this easy, boy. I'm Dave Chappelle out this mug. What? My first time and they on the floor? Like what?
Now, what
And
kind
I
of crowd
felt it was a mixed crowd. I was in Colorado Springs, so it's not. I wasn't in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in Detroit, but
yeah.
it was a decent crowd. We had about 60 people in there, um, and it was just regular. And now that I look back at it, those jokes, I mean, they are still funny now, but there was no depth to them. It was just me saying funny things versus trying to be clever.
Now, Dub, I notice how you do your voice. You change your voice up a lot. You do, what is it like? You're a ventriloquist, right? Is that what it is?
No,
Something.
I
It's
I used to have a
puppet,
puppet show.
a puppet. That's what it is.
Yeah, so and not necessarily a puppet show. It was more of I saw that um and now there's all types of these puppet things that's going off and getting thousands of views. But at the time, it was maybe two people doing it. And I just wanted to, being having young kids, I was like, there is um no urban show for kids that were, starring puppets. So I was like, let me start off by just having them lip sync songs that are familiar for these kids. I did that for a while. It just didn't take off like I wanted it to. So I ended up
Wow.
just saying,
So
we're gonna put it on
give
hold.
us a sample?
I ain't got no more puppets. I'm a grown. No, I'm just
You got
nah.
rid of the puppet, Dub? You stopped? You got rid of them?
I said it's on hold. I want to make sure that I do it correctly. Um, like I didn't get one made. I found one in Hobby Lobby, so it wasn't well thought out. And I
Got
feel like when you do something, you have to do it to the fullest.
okay.
So I took a break and I'm gonna get my puppet made and then I'm gonna do it without having my name attached to it to see if the audience is interested or not.
Well, please send it to me. When you do it, send me a DM or something. I would love to see it. I think that you should definitely attempt to do that again. So that's good. So now, Dub, let me ask you a question. Have you ever bombed?
Yes, every everybody has. That's inevitable. You're not going to appeal to every audience.
And when that happened,
I
what happened for you?
would say me leaving the club was a bomb. Okay, I ain't even get on stage.
That's
I
right.
just lit that mug and ran away. Um,
So when I mean, like, have you ever been like booed off stage?
Never booed,
So,
never once.
so describe what it means when someone says they bombed. What exactly happens to define it as a bomb?
For me, my definition is when you're up there and there's no engagement whatsoever. There's not a snicker in the room. It is the face that it's like you hear crickets and you visualize each and every face individually looking at you like, what the hell is he talking about? And a lot of these, like they say back in the early '90s, late '90s, they throw stuff at you. They boo, that Apollo get your way. Um, the crowds are soft nowadays. They just sit there quiet. You'll get one person be like, "Get your ass out of here." You got one person, you know what I'm saying, one outspoken person, probably one of my kids, but you would hear nothing. And when you get in the car after you're done, you're like, what did I do wrong? It works other times in other places. Why didn't it work
Now,
in this
Shaquana
specific
wrote
place?
that when nobody's laughing, that's considered a bomb. So I guess if you telling jokes and it's quiet in the room and people just looking around like, really? At the end of the night, that's like, oh my goodness.
I
It's
think
like,
what's worse. I think what's worse. I think silence is okay because they're at least trying to figure out where you're going. When they just talking amongst themselves and you up there talking and they like, so who got the wings? Who ordered the wings? That's when you like, so y'all don't even see me, huh? Y'all just gonna pass out the wings. Okay. All right.
wow. So who's your favorite comedian, or who is it that you consider yourself to be like, or you wanted to be like when you decided you wanted to be a comedian?
That's a good question because I never was like, man, I want to tell jokes like this person, or I want to act my jokes out like this person. It was more of trying to study all different types of comedians. You get some people that oh, I only watch black comedians or white comedians, like I only watch white comedians, or mainstream versus uh what is the other word? Mainstream versus chitlin circuit is what I'll say. But or urban comedy. I wanted to soak up as much information that I can from as many different comedians as I possibly could, because funny is funny. White, black, purple, green. Funny is funny. And there's certain things that one comedian does well that another comedian doesn't do well. But my favorite comedian, hands down, is Ali Sadiq. Um,
Mm,
I just he reminds me of how Bill Cosby was, and my
mm,
father was a really big Bill Cosby fan. And to be captivated, like it's different now. Now, when you listen into a story, you're gonna be quiet,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but you have the funny moments within that story that keeps you engaged. And I want to say 2000. I don't know the year. I just know that I saw Ali on a show with Keenan Thompson,
Mm-hmm.
and when I seen him get up there and he didn't curse
Right.
and he didn't have to, and it was still hilarious, I was like, okay, I want to tell stories.
Yes.
I want to be I want to be diverse because I want to be able to do other things as well. But what I want to learn how to do is how to captivate people with my story.
Now it's funny you said that. Ali Sadiq came to Raleigh last month, and I went to see him. And you're right. Oh my goodness. And I'm gonna tell you something. He came at a night that I really needed. I had a flood in my bathroom that day, and I'll never forget. I called the maintenance people, and I let them handle it. I was like, I gotta go. I need this. I needed a break. And oh my goodness, I laughed. Oh my goodness, he really, his gestures, everything about what he does, and he tells stories that are relatable. Anytime you can tell stories that people can envision. They've been there, done that. They understand because you're talking to them. It was just truly amazing, and um,
What I
he
saw,
knows how to
what
hook. He knows how to get you. He knows how to leave you right there. And then his gestures. So that's really really good.
so from seeing him on television to being able to see him live, there was a blind man that was sitting in the front row, and he noticed that that blind man was in that front row, and he didn't want to be disrespectful, so he asked, of course, is he blind? And they were
Hmm.
like, yeah. And he said, I just wanted to make sure so I can know how descriptive I need to be. And he just took
Wow.
it to another level for that
Wow.
individual, which I thought was one, amazing that he was able to
Yes.
notice that and then be able um to work it to where it felt like the blind man was the only man in the room.
Wow. And that was very very he was very attentive. That was really um, that was very compassionate. I mean, there's so many words I can use about that. Considerate. I mean, because he made sure that he can visualize it in his mind because he couldn't see him,
100%.
and that's really good. That's really good. So you want to tell stories, so you really don't want to get up there and do a whole lot of cussing and be vulgar and stuff like that. You just want to be impactful.
Oh, now, I don't want to say that. That would not be true now. I do want to get up there and again, like I said, I want to say what I want to say and how I want to say it. And whether you, the audience, are into that or if you're not, that's understandable. But I can go in and not curse if need be. Um,
Right.
some of these older um, communities out here in Florida, they don't want you to get up there and talk about certain things. So I'm able to go into my bags of stories and then tell those jokes where you don't have to say a lot of curse words. But then I'll go into an actual comedy club to where it's no holds barred. You should be able to say, I mean, if you go into a certain place knowing that it could be a little raunchy in there,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to hear raunchy, don't bring your ass up in there. That's what it is.
That's it. That's it. And people have that choice. Now, you actually had your children at your shows. I've seen times
Absolutely.
where your children have been on stage with you, they've been in the audience with you. What did that feel like when your children saw you as funny? How did that make you feel?
So let it be known, my daughter don't think I'm funny. Okay. My daughter think that I'm just out there acting crazy. My son is the one that thinks I'm hilarious. And maybe that's because he wants to be like his daddy or he is
Oh,
sucking up to his daddy. I don't know. I haven't figured that part out yet. Um,
okay.
my daughter tells me certain jokes are funny, but overall she like, I don't get it, dad. But she like to see people get hurt and flip, like slip and fall or fall off ladder. She think that's funny. So I don't know how good of a judgment that she has on comedy. But to have them there. So there was one show where again I couldn't curse. It was in a theater. It was for I think it was like Girl Scouts or some type of club. Um, and I stopped the show at the end and I just said, I just wanted to take this time to let people know that my children are back here and I bring them to my shows because I want them to see their dad doing something that he's always wanted to do, which was make people laugh. And I got a, good big clapping and all that stuff, but it felt good because I want, I see, and just based on maybe social media and the stereotypes that black men are not a part of their children's lives, or they leave or they get kicked out or what have you. But I wanted, I want my kids to know no matter what. And that's what my dad did for me. He was like, I stayed with your mama because I didn't want you to be without your dad. And that made me feel the same way. Like I'm not going to do that to my kids. So I'm going to do whatever that I can to one, keep them with me, two, show them, that put your mind to something and you can do it. Just make sure that you put your foot forward, your first foot or fat foot or what kind of foot, I don't care. Put the foot forward and 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 just keep going. And you can do pretty much anything you want to do, as long as you put your mind to it. And for them, now my son, he want to do stand up. I was like, look, you ain't that funny, boy. Yeah, all right, you getting sympathy laugh right now, but it's because you ate. Now, when you get a little older, I'll write some stuff out for you and see how it works out. But my daughter, she wants to be a flight attendant, and I was like, you know what? It's because we be going on all these trips. Because when I go to these different places, I bring her with me, and she like, this is what I want to do. So I just want them to know that whatever you want to do, whether it be, because I mean, I'm not a full-time comedian yet. I still have a 9 to 5, but they see me go to work every day, and then they see me come home and they see me working on my craft.
Now, I do want to say this. You said your dad stayed with your mom because of that, but
Yeah.
you were married once, but you didn't stay with your wife. So why or how did you make that decision? Because I'm surprised you didn't follow his footsteps and say, you know what, I'm gonna stick it out because I want to be there with my children like my dad was there with me.
Um, I just, again, you want to be better than your parents. And I feel like, well, if it was up to me, we'd be together. We'd still be together. So it's not my decision. I just got to roll with the punches, and again, be the best dad that I can be. So I didn't want, um I just don't want them to have to wonder, are my parents, not wonder, but have them feel like they're the reason why
Yes.
one or the other is miserable because they want to be in the same household.
Well, I hope that everything goes well. I know I remember there was a time where people, thought differently of you because, you seem to be a very, you're a nice guy, but at one time I didn't think that because you were coming across totally different. You were a little nauseous
So,
and
well, let me explain that. Um, this world is soft. People are appalled when you speak how you think. There's times where someone asks me, "Are my teeth fucked up? Or are my teeth messed up?" If your teeth are messed up, I'm going to say yes. And other people that will lie to you are like, "Oh, he said that? Well, you asked me. And if you asked me, I'm going to give you the honest truth." Now, it's not sugar coated. It's I shoot from the hip. I speak. There's no filter. When you ask, it comes out. And if you're used to people coddling your feelings or not wanting to ruffle feathers, and you get someone that's outspoken, it's different.
but you know how to be tactful though.
I Yes, but I give you the energy you give me. If you are sly and slick with your words, I can be slicker.
I got you. I understand that. You match the energy, so that makes sense. So I'm not mad at you for that. I mean, people do that. Well, I know that I saw you many times, and you were educating people because you also, in addition to being a comedian, you also are a person who has knowledge about social media, about how to help people to get more views, or how to help people to do certain things with social media. Tell the people that a little bit about what you do there because you provide that service, don't you?
I do. I from watching, like that's what I do. I try to study as much as I can before I jump into something. Like with comedy, watching multiple comedians, trying to learn what is funny, why is it funny. Then I was wondering, why are some of these comedians from the older days that my dad used to like a Capone, or like a Don DC Curry, or like all of those Def Jam comedians, Comic View comedians, what made them popular and how did they get to become a full-time comedian? And I felt, of course, they did their due diligence, they went to the open mics, they went to their clubs, but they got on television. And when you got on television in those days, it was a big thing, especially if you did extremely well, because now you can get booked across the country because people want to come see you in person. But this day and age, again, with social media and the internet, I've seen people reach way more people with the phone than actual television. So I said, how do I, if I'm not gonna get on TV, if I'm not gonna get on America's Got Talent, or they don't got, no real comedy stations other than, Comedy Central or HBO or Showtime, you have to kind of fend for yourself. So watching people like Kev on stage, I watched him from going from doing churches to now owning his own studio in LA. It just gave me hope to be like, okay, if you get online and you reach the people, those people will come out and see you. I can count many of people that I've met online that came to my shows, that
Wow.
bought tickets
Hmm.
to my.
There was a conversation that got stirred up a while back in regards to internet comedians and established comedians that have been out here for years and did their time like on stage, Def Jam and all those different places. And some people didn't really appreciate how a new comedian can come out here on the internet and get those followers like that. How do you think that happened?
They're old. When could you imagine how Flip Wilson, Red Fox, Richard thought about Def Jam? Because they didn't have that. They went to these clubs and went to LA and they had to work at it, right? And then the Def Jam comes out, and all of a sudden Comic View come out, and you do one, two good shows, and now you booked across the country. It's the same concept because now I have a camera phone, which y'all didn't have in that day, and they didn't. Of course, Red Fox didn't have in that day. It was doing albums. So it's just about evolution. Just the same thing with dances. Back in Red Fox day, there was a certain way of dancing that was not considered or that was considered provocative. Then the 70s came out and they was like, hey, what the hell y'all doing? Y'all out here gyrating. And now look at what the kids is doing now. And I'm looking at it now like, hey, now what is all this? So I think it comes with evolution in everything.
Wow.
If you got some of those comedians that were in the Def Jam era that it's good online. You got some people that are in that Don DC Curry area that has now paid younger people to run those social media sites for them. So either you get with the program or you continue to do what you do and be successful at it. I just think that there's there's different ways to skin a cat.
Yeah. So are you available if somebody wants to pay you? Are you someone that they can contact to help them to get their views or they're following up or to educate them on ways to boost the algorithm in their favor or do things like that?
Absolutely. Just DM me and I'll give you, I got a little small fee, but
And
um
where do they DM you at?
on any social site, no matter. Dub
At the,
General and everything.
all right. So they
Yep.
DM you at Dub General. So what you're saying is a person can be horrible, but if they know how to work the social media, they can be successful because
I don't believe if you're gonna be horrible now. I ain't say that. Now don't be putting words in my mouth now. What I said was is that there is a way that it was done before and there's a way that it's done now.
well,
Because
let me rephrase.
you have some people that are online that are funny in person. You have some people that are only funny online and are not trying to be a stand-up comedian. But the idea is that if people want to come see you and are willing to pay you, I don't see nothing wrong with that.
That's true. That's true. I can I can I can agree with that. There's somebody out there for everybody, for sure. And what can they expect if they contact you? What can they expect to learn?
I mean, I'm just gonna give them the blueprint of what I've done to build a very steady, organic following. I'm not into buying views or bots or any of that. I'm more focused on the longevity, right? Like if you get 10 people, 20 people to buy something at $100, that's a nice little bit of chunk of change. You don't necessarily need to have 4,000, 5,000 followers, but if you have a core group that come out and see you, or a core group that follow you, you can make some money. And being that I follow the algorithm, I can show you, okay, what you're looking for and where to go in order to maximize whatever it is you're trying to do. When I go to Colorado, I know, okay, if I talk about these things and I go to this area and I promote this, I'm going to get this amount of return. Same thing is going to be different in Texas. It's going to be different in Florida. Every area is going to be different. So I will show you what I know, and plus I'll show you some stuff that I learned along the way from, again, studying other people. And I think what happens is that people don't see results right away like
Right.
they expect, and then they're like, you know what, that didn't work, or that's not the way to go. I'm making money off of YouTube. I'm generating 35,000 views a month. It was at 70 and I slowed down. I slowed down because life happens. You got to focus on the kids. You got to focus on your home. Um, but still, 35,000 views every month is a lot of damn views. And now I'm able to use that for my analytics and be like, hey, I'm gonna be coming to this town. Like in 2 weeks, I'm gonna be in Austin. I got a show with a buddy that I met out here in Florida. Um, and I was in San Antonio with David Lucas about 5, 6 months ago, and now I'm doing my headlining show where I'm going, and it's all me and my friends.
Excellent.
So it's all a matter of building relationships and going to these different places. And of course, you got to add some of the old school with the new school. You're not just going to only promote online. I go out there with flyers, I go out there with QR codes just to be able to have hand to hand things for people to learn. Because sometimes you got to put it in their face. Sometimes you got to just be like, pay attention. Sometimes that's what you got to do. Um, so again, going to these different places, learning your analytics, um, learning when to post, how to post, what to post to get the most traction. That's what I can show.
Wow, that's good. So I hope that people saw what I posted up there. I did put up there how they can reach you, how they can contact you with Dubz General, so that they can do that and get that information. And now, congratulations on the show you have put together. Any type of advice for anyone that's new trying to come out there and become a comedian in 2023, based on some of the biggest lessons that you've learned? What would you say to them?
Listen more, talk less. That's it. Just listen more and talk less. Um, there's a stigma of new comedians or up and coming comedians thinking that they know it all. And I don't think that's the case. I think it's more um, they're proud of what they know. They're proud of what works for them, and just because it doesn't work for someone else doesn't make it bad or not lucrative. But I think you get further in this business listening more.
Wow. How about to build their craft? Should they get a mentor? I know that you have a mentor. Should they study? I heard you say that you've studied some people. I heard you say those two key things. You study some individuals. I heard you say that you had a mentor, someone who guides you, and that you pretty much, you're out there doing the open mic. So those are three critical things. Would you say that those are things that individuals need to do in order to better themselves if they were interested in being a comedian?
Say that one more time.
Would they need to do open mics, have a mentor and study the industry if they want to be
So,
successful?
so I would say definitely study the craft. Spend some time um, just watching and and of course ask questions. But don't look for a mentor. A mentor will find you
Mm,
because you will find more often than not the people that you look up to are not the people you think they are.
mm.
So let those people find you versus you reaching out to them. That's one thing that I would say for sure. Because there's a couple of people I've met that I, looked up to, and I respect them in their craft. I respect what they do. But it's just not my cup of tea.
So I think that's kind of powerful what you said when they come to you, because if somebody sees something in you, then that's even better because they want to pour into you and they see how they can assist you. And if they come to you, they're coming to you with a proposal of some sort. Listen, I think I understand what you're trying to do and I think I can help you. So I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah,
Now,
I
Dub,
think
so
that if you're going out looking for them, they feel like you're trying to skip steps or you're trying to eat off of their plate
mm,
or use their contacts, all of those things. So I feel like, and that may not even be the case. You may literally just admire what they do and want to be around and soak up as much information as possible. But you have to understand they travel the country. And if in every city you got one or two or three or four or five people that are trying to wiggle their way in, it doesn't look good because they see it all the time. And they're gonna be like, I ain't dealing with this person. But if it's organic and you meet someone through someone, or you happen to be at a show and you are opening for them and then they pull you to the side, I think it goes a lot further that way than it is you reaching out.
what next for you, Dubs, in 5 years from now? Other than moving, what next for you in your comedy career? What haven't you done that you want to see yourself doing?
um I don't know. I do know that I'm gonna be doing comedy in 5 years. I would hope to be doing more shows across the country, uh, and be doing it full time. Maybe not to the extent of a Kevin Hart or a Chappelle, but I definitely want to be not working my 9 to 5 and
How about acting?
literally
Do
be.
you want to act? Do you want to do any TV programs? Are you looking to do anything further in that area?
I will say that I never say never, but I really want to do stand up. That's kind of like the base. If those other things come with that, that's fine. But there's nothing like being on that stage with that microphone and having people on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So I got about a couple more questions as we get ready to wrap this up. I just want to ask you. So you've been to several states. I've seen you've been around New York and different places. Which audience did you enjoy the most? In what state?
Good question. It would have to be Texas. Um, Austin. Austin is a different animal. Um, and I've been in New York, and it feels like, I mean, I got really good reviews in New York. It just feels like it's so saturated in New York. So many comics.
But I'm talking
Um,
about the audience. I'm not talking about the. Take your mind out of that for a minute. I'm talking about which state did you feel the love the most? Like the audience really showed you love. I mean, you were like, man, I want to come back here.
Again,
Austin,
Austin, and
Austin.
that's because at the time it wasn't oversaturated. Um, so when you got on stage, the audience was ready to go.
And they're
They were
grateful
they,
because they don't get a lot of comedy. That's what you're saying. New
at
York has
at
so
that
much.
at that time, yeah, at that time, no, they weren't getting as much as they are now. Ever since Joe Rogan moved to Austin, it's been a boom, and that's why a lot of people are there now. But just the love that you get, and the pay is great, and the crowd is again just they're not one white right wing or left wing or bias or coming out like motherfucker make me laugh. You better be funny. It's more like do your thing. Let's see what you got.
That's good. Less pressure too. So Dubs, marriage again? Looking for that special lady? You single and looking right now?
Um, Focus on the kids and the career. But if it happens, but that's not a goal anymore. The goal is um, as a comedian for me, or just an entertainer in general, you're gonna be traveling a lot. You're gonna be out and about, uh, late nights doing stand up. I don't know how that's going to work right now. I don't see how that's going to work. Now, will that change? Possible. Um, and they out there, boy. I'm trying to tell you, they out there looking. I'm telling you right now, they
Oh,
do. You know what
oh,
I'm
they
saying?
out there. So what kind of woman catches your eye? What kind of woman is it that if she's out there and she's listening would be the one
um,
that needs to shoot her shot to Dove Jenner?
I just don't. I like homebodies, man. I like simple, just simple and a homebody, man. You be a good mama, um, and don't be out in them streets. That's it. Like what you go to work, you come home, we go on vacations with the kids, stuff like that. But I'm simple, man. My ex was just a homebody too, and I'll bring my butt home right after the club, doing the comedy, and go to work and bring my butt home. That's just what it is. I'm not out looking for no thoughts. I'm telling you that. I don't need no thoughts out here. I don't need nothing near another. I don't want no drama. No drama whatsoever. But
No. So
if it
what's some,
happens, it happens.
wow. So what's something that your internet friends and followers and supporters don't know about Dubs Jenner? What's a fun fact about Dubs that people just don't know?
Hmm. Something that the people don't know.
I mean, do you play an instrument? Are you a karate kid? Uh, you know, uh,
Um, Let me think. What? Yeah, you got me stumped. I can't think of nothing. I'm an open book, man. I don't like to um necessarily hide things. I'm an open book. So if you ask, I'll tell you. I can't think of nothing that's a secret or something that I never said before.
hmm Well, that's good. Well, I appreciate you being an open book and being available to let the people see the other side of David. Um, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would like the people to know about you? Something coming up, or just maybe what your mission is, or just anything that I did not touch on that you want the people to know about you?
Um, I mean, other than just, look forward to um a lot more content, and I'll be coming to, certain cities real soon. I got some things in the works with some really cool people, and uh can't wait to see our faces out in these streets. And that's about it, man. I'm just gonna be focusing on the craft right now. Is restructuring these jokes and adding more of being a single dad into my routine. Um, I just feel like it's a very big part of my life,
Mm,
and by golly, it's fun. It's fun, and there's a lot of crazy things that happen with these kids that I could I could talk about. So
Yeah, I think that's important. I know Genius does that. Genius incorporates a lot of his stuff from his house. I enjoy watching it. It is good when you do the relatable stuff. I think it definitely draws the people in. It gets their attention because they understand it, because they're experiencing it in their own home.
for sure,
Man, I want to thank you so much for your time. Listen,
you're welcome.
I enjoyed talking to you tonight, and I wish you the best, man. I'm looking to see you on those stages one day. I hope to see you in one of those cities or states. I keep up with you. I see you when you're doing your thing, and hopefully I'll catch you on stage, one day soon.
I'm
Again,
sure
when
you.
you get that puppet out, please send it to me because I want to see it because I really am interested in seeing that. I used to have a ventriloquist friend, and I think that that's different. It's not enough of it. And it's definitely not something that we see in our culture. So I think you should definitely go back and do that. Don't wait too long, though. Go ahead and get it while it's still in you. Okay? And I just thank you, man. Continue to do what you do. Continue to keep, helping people, and being a good father. That's gonna pay.
Absolutely.
That's gonna pay off well. I know your children appreciate that about you.
Well, I do want to say something to you. Like I'm proud of you. You know, you're doing these shows and you talking to comedians and you building relationships. I saw you had Auntie Gina, you know, outgoing self out there. You know what I'm saying? So continue to build and create these relationships. I mean, I could see the progression of when I first learned about you into now. You're getting better at it, so continue to do it. So kudos to you.
Well, I appreciate that. We all out here just, doing what we do. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy allowing people to have a platform, and a lot of time people don't realize. Sometimes they think that it's about numbers. It's about going. And I tell people don't take for granted. You never know who people know. You know what I'm saying? I could be new out here and I might not have a lot of numbers out here, but I still might know some people. You know, I still may have a way to get you exposure in places that you might not have been exposed to. So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be a catalyst, you know, and
Absolutely.
appreciate the kind words. So if you are out there today, I just hope that if you're not following David, they call him Dubz General on all platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and check him out. Check him out. You'll see him out there doing his jokes with his children. And again, he can help you if you're trying to get more views, if you're trying to learn more about social media and how you can, benefit with the algorithms and move the algorithm in your favor. He's maintaining 35,000 views right now. He's monetized on YouTube. He can help you be monetized. If you don't know what that means, DM him and ask
Yeah.
him what does that mean, and he'll help you to get monetized. So we want to thank you so much. Again, we'll be back. We're here on Sundays at 6 p.m. and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. And sometimes we have shows in the middle of the week because we have quite a bit of people, and sometimes we have to reschedule. So we look to see you. If you have a story, DM me and let me know. Say, I have a story, and we'll help you get out there. Okay? In the meantime, my name is Crystal Bodie Smith, and I want to thank you for coming through here. Share this video. You're going to see it reposted out there, and we'll look for you next time on Story Time. So, Dubs, have an amazing evening. Stay
Likewise.
stay happy. And my goodness, go ahead and do what you do. I'm looking for the names. I'm looking for your name on them billboards, man. So I'll
Yes,
see you
sir.
somewhere on one of these stages in 2023, hopefully. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. All right,
Yeah.
y'all. Y'all be
Good
easy.
evening. Okay. Bye bye.